It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember we are not afraid!
Yeah, no fear, but how about a little bit of understanding, because we need some. You know, we just take a look at this stuff. You know, the conspiracy theory now, Iowa straw poll stolen from Ron Paul. Now, there was just as much concern last time, but, you know, the focus was on just, you know, out there just using the media opportunity to get the message out and whatever, let them play their game inside and expose them for whatever. But, this is Lou Rockwell writes, so I guess he might know something. I have it from a very good source that virtually all the people involved in Ron's Iowa campaign and who had worked for other candidates in previous straw polls believe that Ron actually won. But the GOP establishment fixed results to give it to the warmonger Bachmann. To the extent the media suspected this, they cheered. I'll tell you the strangest thing I noticed about the pool. I watched the poll results announced live on CNN. This is the way it went down. A GOP official steps onto the podium and says, Michelle Bachmann has won the Iowa straw poll. No mention of how many votes she received, no mention of Ron Paul coming in second, or how the other candidates performed. Just Michelle Bachmann has won the Iowa straw poll, and we're done. Yep. You know, there's shenanigans, but it doesn't matter, and it just doesn't matter. And CNN and Politico, we're going to ignore Ron Paul. They made it very clear. You know, we'll go ahead and watch this video. You kind of get the idea. This is how they're going to deal with it.
Candidates out of the race. We are in the business of kicking candidates out of the race.
May I say one thing about Ron Paul? I find it odd for me to be a Ron Paul supporter, but he lost to Michelle Bachmann by 9/10 of 1 percentage point in a straw poll that isn't supposed to pick winners, but it's supposed to tell us which way the wind is blowing. That's as good as a win. So we had a tie for first. But where is he on the morning shows this morning? Where are all the stories analyzing what it means that Ron Paul essentially tied for first place at Ames?
And what the reason that he's essentially being ignored is?
The media doesn't believe that Ron Paul has a hoot and hell's chance of winning the Iowa caucuses, winning the Republican nomination, or winning the presidency. So we're going to ignore him.
Go ahead, Stephanie.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, you know, Howard, because that's the one thing Donald Trump has ever been right about is that he's unelectable. I mean, I think, you know, my favorite part of the debate Thursday night is that, you know, Rick Santorum broke the golden rule of Republican debates, and that's pretending Ron Paul is invisible, you know? So, I mean, I think you're right. There's more media attention than there is, you know, this is going to have to do with the actual results.
Well, just to remind people of the numbers here, this great victory won by Michelle Bachmann, and I'm not taking anything away from her. She got in late, and she's got a lot of momentum, but she got 4,823 votes. Ron Paul got a couple hundred less, as you say, Roger. Pawlenty with 2,293. Jackie Kucinich, you mentioned earlier Texas Governor Rick Perry.
The media doesn't believe that Ron Paul has a hoot and hell's chance of winning the Iowa caucuses, winning the Republican nomination, or winning the presidency. So we're going to ignore him.
We are in the business of kicking candidates out of the race.
We're going to ignore him. We're going to ignore him. We're going to ignore him until he goes away. Where is the we're not going away crowd? You know, if we are counting on the traditional precinct committeemen inside the Beltway, inside the GOP, inside the party, inside the structure for Ron Paul, I fear what's going to happen. The Levolution could never go away because there was nothing to do away with. It was diverse and horizontal and democratic. It was just across the planet of individuals doing what they want because they were inspired by people that said, hey, we're doing what we want, do what you want, and this is what we did, and, tell us what you did, and we might do some of what you did, and you do what we did, and we all did. So this mentality has been suppressed or pushed out of the GOP campaigning for president. It has to be structured through the system. So I really emphasize this, my little bitty old Ernie radio show out here to nothing. I'm not a big syndicated, we're syndicated a little bit. I mean, we have some stage, but I mean, nowhere near what a lot of these big guys are going to try and have some influence on the GOP mindset across the country. We're here for the future. We're here to be on record. We're here to help provide information to activists now. We're here to provide understanding for people that are looking for the truth. We're here to uncover the secrets and expose the lies for those that want that. That's what we do because it's a niche that isn't filled by anybody. Who else is doing this? Hell, they're all part of the we're going to ignore him until he goes away crowd. Rights and fundamental principles and constitutionality and what's even good for the economy or the people or the world. That had nothing to do with it. We're going to go over some of the stories that are just hitting the headlines today. I mean, dang, this stuff there's some crazy stuff going on. So I'm going to go ahead and blank these out. Now, this one chart I wanted to go ahead and show you is the Ames, Iowa straw poll. And here's a graphic for those of you that are on video watching this, is that you see the Iowa straw poll, Ron Paul statistical tie for first. But what it shows is how close it is up here. And there's still, the big talk is there's a bunch of votes missing and who'd they go for and how did they, yada, 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 whatever. But it has Michelle Bachmann, 28.55%, Ron Paul, 27.65%. So it's less than, a percent. But they never say anything. So what's interesting is that, you have once a fringe candidate, Paul shaping 2012 race. They actually feature this. But who is this doing this? It's National Public Radio. It's NPR. It's public radio. The government, okay? Ron Paul, once seen as a fringe candidate and a nuisance to the establishment, is shaping the 2012 Republican primary by giving voice to the party's libertarian wing and reflecting frustration with the United States' international entanglements. The Texas congressman placed second in a key early test vote Saturday in Ames, coming within 152 votes of winning the first significant balloting of the Republican nominating contest. Representative Michelle Bachmann of Minnesota won the non-binding Iowa straw poll, but Paul's organizational strength and a retooled focus on social issues set him up to be a serious player in the campaign. I believe in very limited role for government, but the prime reason, quote, this is, Ron Paul, I believe in a very limited role for government, but the prime reason that government exists in a free society is to protect liberty, but also to protect life, and I mean all life, he told a rancorous crowd on Saturday. So, of course, NPR is going to emphasize his pro-life stances, but they're going to emphasize that he freaking exists. So I'm just, okay, this is how they want to, I mean, if you think you want to know how this is going to go, all you got to do is just, look at this. So I've got some other stories here that we're going to talk about. Let's center these bad boys up. But the one thing that I wanted to emphasize is what's happening right now around the world. And the one thing about Ron Paul just plays into this, he has to be ignored, if not silenced. This is, they're talking about here, this is from newrockwell.com. The revolution is underway. The ongoing media blackout on all things Ron Paul is somewhat curious. One blogger calls the Meet the Press crowd knuckleheaded for their omissive reporting of winners and losers. Headlines blare, Bachmann first, Paulini third, as if not saying Ron Paul's name and crediting him with his earned reward, they can create an alter reality. Second is not first. Bachmann's and Dr. Ron Paul's 28.6% to 27.7% respectively, less than a percentage point, is a great horse race. Bachmann won by a nose, they would say, if this was the Kentucky Derby, but now he's not even in the race. There was no horse that was second lost by a nose. There's something going on here. Are you guys feeling it? We'll talk about it.